Hi Virgo, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are well. I have a bit of a special reading for you guys today. It is a new moon in Virgo reading. It is taking place on the 9th of September, so it's just a bit of a preparational video, if you will. I have pulled my moon card from my Manara Erotic Tarot. I love this card. Look at that is such a Virgo new moon card, is it not? If ever you saw it, okay? And I choose this card because I think that new moons are a fantastic opportunity for a bit of self-reflection, a bit of, planning and looking and seeing where it is that we can allow some betterment to take place in our future. What is it that we wish to start? What intentions is it that we wish to set? What is it that we're hoping to achieve? And where is it that we're hoping to go now? And I say that this is such a special opportunity because in the 9th month, on the 9th day in, 2018, we are given such a beautiful opportunity to, start manifesting some really beautiful things. It's a magical time. Like, I don't think I can stress this enough to Virgos. This really is such an electric opportunity for you guys to really really kickstart some solid projects. And so anyway, let's talk about the Virgo archetype, shall we? The Virgo stereotype, if you will, and some things that we don't really know about Virgo. So Virgo rules the 6th house. It is a mutable feminine energy. It is a passive energy. So it would be yin energy. It would be very much that feminine, soft energy. The energy that wants to discover and the energy that wants to nurture. Okay? Just by the nature of Virgos themselves, they are very much a sign of service. Being from planet Mercury. I like to say we're from these planets, but being of Mercury, shall we say. You are very much, unlike Gemini, who is very much in the head, you guys are very much the analysis, okay? You are the sales, you are the trade, you are the weighing, the worth and value. And, I always find that Virgos have that certain attractiveness to them. Like, they're never ugly. Virgos are never ugly. It's so funny. And I think that's because you guys are always going to be put on the forefront, regardless of whatever career choice you choose, to be able to steer people, help people, advise people, heal people. And there's just some weird psychology that works there, but you know what? That's Virgo. So we've got mutable earth energy. I think that's 3. And let's look at the Virgin. This is the relationship with self and the relationship with others. It is Mercury, so it is a lot of analysis. It is a lot of, processing, figuring things out, being aware of ourselves, where is it we're lacking. And sometimes Virgos are so aware of what they lack, so painfully so. And this whole concept of perfectionism, I think, really plays on that in the worst kind of way, because I think a lot of people don't really know this about Virgos, but Virgos are so painfully aware of how imperfect that they are, that they spend their entire lives cultivating this image of perfection. Now, to a lot of people that can come off as being quite standoffish, but really and truly, if we're going to get to the base of it, this is the actual conditioning that Virgos have to suffer their entire lives. It is being so aware of the concept of being godly and being close to God and the perfection that we are supposed to maintain, through religious conditioning, or being good kids that get good results at school, or, within, home, fitting into home. And it all becomes really heavy for the Virgo. And more often than not, Virgos find themselves suffering from these weird, feelings of inadequacy. And I want to say, like Virgos, you can often find them bracketed off into two different categories. We've got the Virgo that goes through this conditioning and becomes quite angry at the world, okay? And quite resentful, and they get this air of sadism to them. And it's really weird because even in their relationships, the inadequacy begins to turn into like complete emotional blockout, just complete emotional denial for the other person. And more often than not, that is the Virgo that ends up becoming that hermit, that cave-bearing hermit that just wants to just stay in there. Or you get the guilt-ridden Virgo who's never quite good enough and has been conditioned so much to believe that regardless of whatever their best efforts, it's never going to be good enough, and they become this masochist. Both ways are self-deprecating, okay? Both Virgos have an air of damaging themselves. There is a void there that is, as I said, it's been created by conditioning. And the thing with this new moon is that it is such a perfect opportunity to like cleanse and release. The other good thing about this new moon, I want to say also, is getting in tune with the moon. I have always been someone who is so reliant on the moon and what I can learn from it, and its patterns and its cycles and where it is, because it affects me. I was born on a full moon, so this like affects me a lot. But I find that people using new moon opportunities correctly can more of make a change in their life, or the adjustments in their life that can change their lives. And it's a very positive time. So you've got to make sure that the way that you're thinking around this time is automatically aware of all of the potential benefits that can come in with this time, as opposed to being stuck within the really tight confines of that conditioning. Okay, this is feminine mutable energy, so there is an air of sensitivity to this. Let's look at the idea of the Virgin, okay? This perfectionism, this idea of purity, yet we struggle our whole lives to, really to reach that, to be the actual epitome of that it kind of begins to taint our relationships, be it the relationships with others, our parents, our friends, our lovers, but most importantly, the internal relationship that we have. Like who we are and the way we're speaking to ourselves and the way that we analyze things and the way that we process things almost becomes out of sync with the hermit, because there is always this battle between, the virginal kind of prototype archetype or the hermit type archetype. Now, the Virgin is someone that is very much she's dealing with her relationship with herself, her internal inquisitions, like the questionability of herself, how comfortable she feels within herself, her relationship with the world, and how the world becomes a source of violation for this. It's almost like allowing in the world is Virgo's biggest struggle. Everything soon, if taken out of context or misused, becomes a void to Virgo. And there is a gap, more often than not, that Virgo ends up filling with, like, just about everything but Virgo. I think that this time is a really, really good time to connect to Virgo. And it's really funny how 6th house Virgo Virgin ties in so closely to sex. And I think that if we're really going to use this moon energy clearly, appropriately, shall we say, we've got to be aware of like our own sexual spirit. That Kundalini energy that may have been guilted out of Virgo. And this is a bit of a tricky concept. It's a funny concept, but I always find there's two kind of Virgos. There is that anger, like from preconditioning from childhood, there is that angry Virgo that is so angry at the world because he has been questioned and pushed and judged and can't handle it, and takes all that anger, all of that frustration, and transmutes it into this weird sadist punisher. And your relationships become quite difficult, and everything is, it goes in, like, you just have difficulty connecting to people on an emotional level. Cultivating real, like, healthy, genuine relationships becomes all that more because you're so angry and you want to inflict that hurt that people really don't understand how sensitive Virgos are and how careful you have to be around them and handling them. Or, on the other hand of that, you've got that very guilty Virgo, you know, the guilty Virgo that takes on the criticism from other people. And it is really sad the way that people really go for Virgos, because they don't realize how that guilt transmutes into, like, masochism. And we touched on this on my last video. Virgos really need to understand that their relationship with their self, as well as their relationship with others, are so sacred, okay? Such is this earth element that needs nurturing like a plant. And in finding those kind of relationships that can nurture you like a plant, take care of you, like, I'm not saying treat you like an innate object, but those that can tend to you, and that can understand that your real power, your greatest strength is in that earthy sensuality that Virgos have. They're the ones that really get Virgo. And they are the ones that Virgo can generally cultivate like a very beautiful relationship with. It is the relationship of longevity, but there needs to be an element of patience, trust, understanding. And I never quite understood it before, but this is why I figured out now why Cancers and Virgos have great relationships, why Libras and Virgos have great relationships, why even Pisceans and Virgos have great relationships. It's because they can cultivate that feeling of security within the Virgo, okay? Virgo, the only human of the zodiac. Safety and emotional dependency is key to understanding the Virgo, okay? You are born to serve because you need to feel appreciated. You need to feel loved. And this new moon, I want to say, Virgos, do some, like, Kundalini awakening meditation. Set some time aside, Virgo. Cleansing baths, cleansing rituals. I hope you guys got yourself a piece of clear quartz. And I said from the charity shop because I really disagree with a lot of these now online retailers, especially of crystals, that are like destroying entire ecosystems just to sell crystals on their shitty Instagram pages. I don't believe in that. I'm a Virgo. That stuff is like someone stabbing me. Don't do it. Please go to the charity shop. Secondhand crystals is more than enough. Everything else comes secondary. The ecosystem, lives, trees, it all comes first. This is the Virgo in me really getting out of control. Listen, Virgos, like the Pisceans, okay? Virgo is 6th house, the most balanced of ego, versus Pisces, which I think comes to the end of the zodiac cycle. You guys are both spiritually inclined, okay? And you are going to I think you're naturally going to find that this time around, this new moon, is going to draw out that spiritualism in you. There is a spiritual path that this new moon and this Virgo season is asking you guys to take. And using that as a emotional support to do some real spirit work, to try and come back to you so that you know that you can move forward in the best way. Now, there are going to be winds of change that come about this season, but the thing is, you've got to be aware how freedom from restraints of sentiment, of damaging memories, of difficult relationships is now going to have to be put behind you. And I say seek spiritualism during this time because there is a real comfort in unloading these burdens on a belief. And I always say that Virgos are really good at manifesting as well, is because as much as Virgos can self-doubt themselves, they can be their biggest loves. And this really is a path now of illumination with this new moon to understand that to be treated right, you've got to treat yourself right, Virgo. And in doing so, it might feel like you are blocked, but it's just because of the block of all this clutter that's going on in your mind. These feelings of danger, I think it really just stems from unhealthy patterns that you may have, built up over the years. Okay, cleanse and release. Unblock. Clean the mess. Clean the disorder. Crystal clear intentions. And be diligent about it. Okay? Should we call out the cards? Right, so I have here the Moon card. Look at this. Just absolutely in love with this. And I think this should really be Virgo's image to bear in mind moving from now to the time of the new moon. Ladies and gentlemen, Virgos, I have for you the Wheel of Fortune. I have the King of Pentacles. I have the Nine of Cups. And I have the Six of Cups. Wheel of Fortune. Virgo. We go through life aware of what it is that we need to achieve. Completely aware of our own inadequacies. Spending entire lives overcompensating to create a justifiable reason within ourselves as to why we deserve abundance, why we deserve the Wheel of Fortune. That feeling of inadequacy is really dangerous. And I want you to use this new moon to really seek out change for yourself. Freedom from your previous conditioning, a belief. And you're gonna perhaps be called out to nature. You are going to perhaps need to take a little bit of time to sit down with your crystals, your rocks, whatever. Get some herbs. But find the love for life. You will find that this new moon is a beautiful opportunity for you to set out some intentions, Write them down, make a wish on them, and watch them play out. This is now time for unwavering, okay? No shaky, unwavering faith in yourself. Maybe start some new diet, okay? Detoxify your life, detoxify the clutter, detoxify any feelings of blocked luck. Detoxify all of the negativity that may have stacked up and weighed heavy on you up until now, because I don't think that this is a period for you to feel like you're in any sort of danger. We spoke about that a few weeks ago as well. This is your space. And until you don't feel deserving, feel worth it, feel like you are very much part of something that really wishes for you to move up, it's not going to come. There is healing that is involved in the acceptance of something that can be cyclical. We have to accept that life doesn't always have an upward swing, but we have to make it we have to do our best to indulge in a bit of self-control, a bit of self-discipline, okay? Lonely at the top much? It is not your place to pacify others. It is not your place to have to feel bad about your fortune, about your success. Be practical, accept that you have high standards and you wish to live by those. King of Pentacles, high standards. This guy is here, and I really want to say to you, get out in nature, okay? This king is definitely a king who could be considered aloof, but everybody knows where to find him. Take your time for yourself, but don't separate yourself from the people around you, Virgo, okay? He's a helpful king. That pentacle can reflect a lot of things that will illuminate a lot of people, okay? This is now your fate, okay? And stare at it. Stare at it until this whole feeling of being completely overwhelmed by your success becomes nature to you. And until you're not accepting that you do need to be quite firm with this concept of accepting success and accepting that this is now time for you to put away previous conditions and move forward. Move forward with those relationships. Move forward with yourself. Come to terms with the fact that you are an earthy, sensual being. You will automatically fill up your cups, and I think this new moon asks you to do exactly that. You can part with your wisdom, you can share your wisdom with others, but if you've not got a grasp on your own cups and what you're filling yourself up with, you will always have that image with self. You will always have that problem with who you are. I think this new moon really calls for maybe a bit of isolation and a bit of rational, logical thinking, that until you are not cultivating self-fulfillment, these don't really come. Okay, there has got to be some isolation, I think, to really allow some sort of self-healing. Not too much, but long enough for you to step away from the cup is half empty mentality. Service to others. The healer, Virgo the healer. The person that everyone goes to for, relationship advice, for life advice, for, borrowing money or whatever. Your community, your loved ones, the people around you will need you at this time. And until you're not illuminating yourself, Virgo, like the hermit, all of your duties, your hard work, your responsibilities, all of that kind of stuff is kind of going to end up being a little bit just as it's always been, mundane, not really scratching the surface of like enlightenment that you really will want to feel at this time. Avoid getting caught up in drama. By all costs, entire Virgo season, you stay away from the poo on the floor. You walk around the puddle. Because the thing with Virgos, and not a lot of people, no, everybody else gets it, but Virgos don't get it. You guys do this thing where you're so self-conscious, you're so aware, painfully aware of your own inadequacies. It may not even be inadequacies, it's just that you guys judge yourselves so hard. And that's why everyone thinks you're judging them, and actually you're really not. You're not even holding them to the same standard as you hold yourself. Be very careful that you don't get caught up in the same cyclical patterns of being told what you are. Because unfortunately in this life there are people that will identify your weaknesses really quickly and play on that and use your own insecurity and your own like willingness to shoot yourself in the foot to stop all of this cultivating. Okay? You are so caught up in your own feelings of lack that you completely forget that you are not responsible for treating everybody else well without that reciprocation. And until you don't start treating yourself well, you're not going to get that reciprocation, okay? There is a certain element of identity that needs to be faced this full moon. High standards. Keep them. Make sure you're setting yourself intentions this new moon that will elevate you, that will take you to the next phase, that will take you to the next place that you need to be to in order to really let fate take over. You don't need to control everything. Have some wisdom. Have some prudence, like for God's sakes. Trust. Things want to work out. And this new moon is going to give you the opportunity to see them work out. You are going to have this emotional contentment. You are going to have this Wheel of Fortune moment. If you realize that wisdom comes from really being able to understand thyself, to thy own self be true. There are opportunities that you can offer your community, Virgo, and you can't do that unless the hermit's lamp is lit. Who will light the lamp of the Virgo? Hopefully this new moon will show you that you're the one with the lighter. Virgo, I want you to look at relationships as well. If you've been feeling lonely, if you have been in this state of mind of loneliness, you've got to understand now that this is a situation that you have made for yourself. You might be with a partner, you might be alone. But illuminate what it is within you that needs that space, that needs that distance with your partner. Illuminate exactly what it is within you that is almost like repelling closeness or repelling that relationship or repelling anybody even like being drawn to you or talking to you. It is a thing, I think, this new moon, to look at fear and look at danger and look at how much of a narrative Virgo is creating. Virgos love, being treated right. Virgos love the, acclaim. They love the being told that they're doing right. They love all of that. So why is it then, Virgos, that you're keeping yourself at an arm's length? And I say that because there are some people that you really do need to keep yourself at an arm's length from. And if you really want to use this new moon to actually cultivate and create something really magnificent, you're going to have to keep a little bit of space from distractions, quite obviously. But as a healer, which Virgos are in their own right, they do such a wonderful job of healing. As a healer, your community needs you, and you've got to understand that you're going to have to really address whatever it is inside you that is needed to be healed and loved and resolved, so that you can, Virgos love helping people. Are you kidding me? I love helping people. Anybody that needs my help, I'm always there for them. And I don't even grudge them for it. It's fine. It is what it is. But I think this new moon kind of requires you to heal yourself a little bit. I think, Virgo, be very mindful to do some cleansing rituals. Cleanse yourself, your intentions, what it is that you want to start off with, a set of purity. Like, you just want to set it off the right way. Make sure that you are nurturing your insides. So maybe sit down with yourself with a notepad and a notebook and go back in time and look at some conditioning. Look at those voids and look at what it is that what you have been filling yourself up with, and maybe decide now that you really need to fill yourself up so that this wheel can spin and land exactly where it's supposed to be, which is on your time, Virgo. New moons, as I've already said, are a fantastic time to set some intentions. The only rituals I think you guys really need to be doing is A, cleansing, B, purging negativity, be it internal, be it external, and C, being faithful and creating or deciding now to cultivate, to harvest, to produce, to be diligent on you. Love everything and everyone. Just make sure that you are fair with yourself, because, Virgo, it is so important now that you're no longer holding yourself back. And I have a feeling like if there is a sweetheart, if there is a loved one, be fair to them too. Give them the chance and give them the opportunity to love you, and accept that love, because it really is a blessing. Take care, Virgo. I shall